Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the library. Let's get things started. All right. Good evening, everyone. And let me begin by welcoming all those in the chat. Hello, Crew Mel. Hello, Adam. Hello, Gerard, Joetown Jack, Delilah, Zelda Z, Thindu, my man, is here. Big Bones in the house, Mustang Mike, Tony the Night Owl checking in. Who am I missing here? I said old Adam. William from Brooklyn. M. Pow in the house. Todd Father, how are you, my friend? Let's see, did I miss anyone? Osada Treats. The Godfather of Chocolate. And Tommy Stiggs, of course. Tony, excuse me. Thank you so much for everyone being here. If you're watching this on replay, I guess you could fast forward past this hello stuff, but that's fine. I like to say hello personally to everyone. Now let's get on camera. Let's see here. There we go. There's Lenny. And there's Victor in the background, chilling as usual. So let's start things off right with our lighting of our candles. And then we have some interesting stories from the state of Wisconsin. And then I have a few pictures and videos to show you. But these are not good at all. But like I say always, it gets harder and harder to find these things. But what we'll do is we'll do some debunking on these because they, one or two of the videos were actually on the Discovery Channel show, Paranormal Caught on Video, I believe it's called. And you'll see it. It'll be self-explanatory, but we'll do a little debunking on that stuff too, which proves my point, how rare this stuff is for anything to be even closely legitimate. It's rare. So if you have a channel or if you have a show that's based on paranormal videos, you have no choice but to show these humbugs, these fakes, these staged things, because there just isn't material for it, right? So anyway, that's just me preaching a little bit there. And I try to do my best not to show you those bad ones, but I'll show you these bad ones because I think it's kind of funny, and we could show you how I debunk them or how we can debunk them together. But anyway, that's what we'll do. But let's start off with the actual stories. So I have 5 stories for you tonight from the state of Wisconsin. Hello, Suzanne. How are you? Good to see you. And we'll go from there. So let's start off with the first one is called The Haunting of Molly's Rock. Now, let's start off with a picture because we got to give you a picture. That's the whole basis of this, right? All right. This is Molly's Rock. And as you can see, this picture was taken in the 1930s, and it's written on there, "Keep off Molly's Rock." And you'll see a woman sitting there, and that woman is Molly. And we'll get into this story, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like. It's a pretty big rock, pretty big rock. And in fact, it's no longer there. It's been smashed up intentionally by the government. Osada, the government did it. So, and I'm honest, it's 100% true. The park system did it. So, but I'll tell you why. But anyway, let's get to the story behind this. So that's Molly's Rock. And the story goes that this rock is haunted. Now, why is it haunted? Well, there's several stories behind it. The first story is that there was a girl named Molly who drowned in a lake that was close to this vicinity, and she always loved to sun herself on this rock, and her spirit guards the rock to this day, or what's left of the rock at least. That's one of the stories. The other story, which turns out from my research to be the real story, is that this rock was believed to be supernatural itself. In other words, it had some type of geological supernatural power. And Molly was a geologist. She and her husband were both geologists, and they were fascinated by this rock. It was made out of a very rare type of material, earth or whatever you would call it. And her name was Molly Sasek, and that's her in the picture, Molly Sasek. And it's located on south of Highway D around Pine Lake. So if anyone ever goes to that vicinity, that's the area you're going to look in Wisconsin. And this was taken in the 30s. This picture was taken in the 30s. And this was after her husband found this rock, and because it was something that they had been working together to find. They've been looking for this for years, this type of geological formation. So she was fascinated by it and was so happy to see it that she went there. And in fact, when they analyzed the rock, they were so enthralled with it that they had made this found that they decided to buy land near it and have a summer home so that they could visit the rock routinely over the years. And that's exactly what they did. And in fact, what has happened is, eventually Molly passes away, her husband passed away. And when she passes away, it is said that the extra paranormal nature, the extraordinary nature of this rock somehow trapped Molly's spirit there, or linked her spirit to this rock, and that she can be seen, her spirit can be seen sitting on the rock, much like she is in this picture. Now, it's not anything really harmful, part of the story. She seems to be protective of the rock, but she also seems to disappear if people come near. So you might approach the area and see her in the distance, and then as you get closer, she'll disappear. Now, this became such a tourist attraction because of all the sightings that in 2006, the Park Service decided to smash up the rock because it was too much of a distraction, bringing too much graffiti. People would go there and write on the rock and write obnoxious things on the rock, et cetera, et cetera. And it became a hassle. They had to maintain this. So they decided to do away with it. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Bill C. Hi, Patty Joyce. Good to see you. Arm distance in the house. Good to see you. Let me see if I missed anybody. I don't want to miss anyone, as usual. I appreciate each and every one of you for spending some time with me. All right, I think I got everybody here. I don't think I saw anyone else. Just me. How are you? Just me. Bobo. I think I said hello to you before, but just in case I did. And then Mustang Mike. Okay, awesome. All right. So anyway, the rock has been smashed up. So there's nothing but bits of it left because it was too much of a distraction, too much of a hassle. Now, the legend around the remnants of this is that you better not take any of those remnants of the rock as a souvenir, because if you do, a curse will follow you. And there's been numerous instances of people who, or tales at least, of people who have taken a piece of the rock. Remember that commercial, the Prudential commercial back in the 80s, early 80s, late 70s? They'll take a piece of this rock and then misfortune will follow them afterwards. For example, accidents, unexplained accidents will happen. Financial loss they will experience for no reason. So a lot of negative stuff came from this rock. And the theory is that even though Molly herself was not a mean or a malevolent spirit or anything like that, the fact that you're taking this rock away, which was so special to her, carries with it the curse of bad luck. So if you're ever in that area, do not take a piece of rock from this with you because it's nothing but bad news for you. So just be mindful of that because that's how the legend goes. So Molly's Rock, an interesting little legend and story around something. And it's interesting to me how people come up with other stories around it. Like there was a girl that drowned, not the real story. There was also a companion story about a carriage that crashed into the rock in the 1800s and that a ghost from that tragedy haunts the rock. Not the case. In reality, it's Molly, let me say her name again, Molly Sasek, whose spirit could be seen around this rock. So there you have it. The haunting of Molly's Rock, our first story. All right. Now let's get rid of this. Let's go on to number 2. Now, anyone who knows Wisconsin or any of these states, Minnesota, Wisconsin, the middle northern part of the country, is known that this area is famous for ice fishing. Well, it stands to reason that there might be an ice fishing ghost, and that's what we're going to talk about. The ghostly ice fisherman of Manitowish is the subject of our next point here. All right. Now, what does the ice fisherman look like? Well, the ice fisherman looks like an individual, almost modern. Let's not say modern, but let's say 1970s, 1960s type of outfit. Parka, hood, dressed like an ice fisherman from that time period. And people will see him on various lakes. Now, this is an interesting part of this story, is that he's not linked to one specific lake. He's seen in different lakes in the region. The lakes he's seen are Cinday Lake, Circle Lily Lake, Dead Pike Lake, Birch Lake, and Big Crooked Lake. Those are the 4 lakes that you could see the ice fisherman. And it's interesting to me how he travels about, and he'll appear in the distance, and you'll see him much like anyone else would be in a cold winter's day out on the lake, set up to do ice fishing. Hello, Paulie Donuts. Good to see you. Gianni Catalano. Good to see you, my friend. And it's always from the time the lake freezes to the time it gets mushy. So a cycle of a lake, you'll see it at the beginning. Right now, it's in the solid ice, but in December or in November, even it will be like a weaker ice, and then it'll get solid in January and February, and then in March, and then it'll start to loosen or start to get mushy. Well, you could see him at any period of time. He might be out there. The only time you don't see him is when it's not winter, it's not icy. So the ice fisherman. Now, what's the story behind the ice fisherman? This is the interesting part. Now, I don't have a name for him, but I can tell you the story. It seems that he was such a devout ice fisherman that he loved this activity so much that he would do it so often. He'd do it all the time. And to the point that his wife began to suspect that he was being unfaithful, that ice fishing was just a cover for his extramarital activities. Now, why do you say that? Because he was, in fact, the worst fisherman in the world. He never came home with fish. Even though he never came home with fish, he loved the activity. He loved to take his 6-pack of beer with him, go out onto the ice with a radio, sit there and just relax and look to see what he can catch. Very few times did he ever catch anything. So this led his wife to believe that he was being unfaithful. And this went on for a while until one winter day, he went off to do his usual Saturday fishing. And when he came back, empty-handed as usual, he found that his wife and his 2 children were gone, and all he saw was a note left by her that said that she was done with him and that she was going off. She was running off with a salesman that had come to the house often to sell her products. So a very devastating situation for our fisherman, and in fact, he is so distraught over this that what do you think he does? Well, he goes to the place where he feels best, which is back out on the ice. So he takes his 6-pack of beer with him. He goes out to the ice and begins to tie one on. And boy, does he tie one on, because he's drowning his sorrows from what he's dealing with. Well, he was so bad that he actually fell asleep out there. And that night, unfortunately, an unpredicted storm hit the lake. And no one saw him. No one saw him return from town ever, because what happened was, unfortunately, nobody knows exactly what happened, but unfortunately, what happened was that during the night when he was passed out and the storm hit, something must have occurred where he fell and ended up seeping into the ice fishing hole and drowning in his sleep, to the point that then the next morning they found him underneath the ice. They found his body underneath the ice. So a dreadful end. Hopefully he was sleeping. Hopefully he didn't realize this, because an awful feeling to drown in that way. But in any case, he drowns that way. Now, as a result of this, his spirit lurks around during the ice fishing season. Now, he is certainly not a malevolent spirit. He's a benevolent spirit. He looks to help others. And how might you say he does that? Well, it's said that if you see the ghost ice fisherman and you happen to be ice fishing, you will have your best day of ice fishing ever. And it's believed that he does this. He uses his extra power, or his paranormal power, to help you catch fish, because he's looking to help anyone else avoid what he encountered in life. His bad luck, which led to his wife leaving him and him meeting an early demise, a lonely early demise. So he does his best to help you avoid that by helping you catch some fish. So kudos to the ghost ice fisherman, for helping his fellow man avoid his problems and catch some nice pike in the lake. So that's Ghost story number 2, the ice fisherman of Manitowish, Wisconsin. All right. On to number 3. This one is really interesting to me because this is an actual unsolved murder that took place in 1877 in the town of Omro, Wisconsin. Now, let me show you real quick what I'm talking about here. Now, hold on a second here. Make sure I get this right here. Where is this? I'm looking for... I can't seem to find it. That is not cool. All right. I was going to show you the bridge, but anyway, Omra, Wisconsin was basically a frontier town at that time, 1877. And was it in a window? Maybe it's in a window. Here it is. It's in a window. Here we go. So let me show you this. This is the bridge in question that our story is going to go around. So in 1877, John Sullivan was a farmer, a local farmer or outside of Omro, Wisconsin. And one night, one Saturday, he had gone into town and he had walked there. He'd gone into town to do some shopping and spend some money, get some supplies for his farm. And he did just that. He spent his money. He took his supplies over his back and he went home. By the time he went home, after spending the day in town, it was about between 9 and 10 o'clock. Now, as he crosses the bridge, he meets his untimely and unsolved demise because the next morning he is found shot and killed on the bridge, on this very walking bridge. And there are no suspects to be found. The only thing that clues that there were that there was that night, folks that lived near the bridge heard a single gunshot around the time period in which John Sullivan left. So the town is faced with this unsolved murder, and what will they do about it? Well, they begin to have an inquest and interview people, and no one has seen anything and no one can say anything about it. Hello, Dave T. Good to see you. I don't know if I said hello to you before. Fancy Nancy, good to see you. And this town in question at the time was very big into spiritualism. And what I mean by that is they were into seances and trying to contact the dead. And there were multiple mediums in the town who held seances in hopes of finding clues that would lead to the murder of John Sullivan. But all failed. No, not one of them could contact a spirit that could give them any more information about this murder. And like I said, to this day, this murder is unsolved. But that would about to change a week later. So a week later, after all these seances bring nil, there shows up out of nowhere an individual who only identifies himself by a single name. And that name was Mr. Wilson. Now, Mr. Wilson states that he was walking on the bridge a few nights after the murder. And at that particular time, he saw in the fog a ghostly spirit appear. And that ghostly spirit held in its hand a rifle. Now, Mr. Wilson was petrified by the sight of this and stood motionless, paralyzed. And it wasn't until he heard the spirit speak to him, and that spirit said to him, "This is the weapon that killed John Sullivan." And at that point, the ghost shot the weapon, and a shot rang out, and the ghost screamed. Now, at this point, Mr. Wilson was out of his head and ran like a maniac away from the bridge in hopes of getting as far away from this as possible. But it was a few days later where he came forward with this information. And now this was the story that he told, that in essence, it was a ghost that had killed John Sullivan. Now, with this, many of the mediums went to town trying to contact, again, spirits to figure out, trying to contact this spirit or trying to figure out anything that would lead to the clues of this murder. But nothing was successful. And it got over time where they just began to leave this as a cold case file where nothing was solved. And over time, over years, people have noticed a ghostly rifleman here and there on foggy nights standing on the bridge. And some say they see it in the distance. Some say they see it very close up front. But none have ever had an encounter like the mysterious Mr. Wilson said, a talking ghost to them and a gunshot by the ghost. But it was basically believed by the locals that this ghost actually did kill John Sullivan. Who the ghost was, whose spirit it was, or what the motive was for it is still unknown. No one knows. All we know is that John Sullivan was buried in a cemetery close by as an unsolved murder. And the ghost, whoever he might be, that cowboy ghost with that long rifle, that repeating rifle, is still haunting that bridge from time to time. So the ghostly murder of John Sullivan is our third story, and it's unsolved to this day. So, and again, that's Amro, A-M-R-O, Amro, Wisconsin. All right, that's number 3. Now let's go on to number 4. Now, number 4 is a little broader ghost story because it's not a specific ghost story. It's more about a region, more about a town in northern Wisconsin, or mid-central, mid-northern, I guess is what you'd call it, Wisconsin. So let me get this off of here, and let me show you what the town or region of Baraboo, Wisconsin looks like. Now, this is in the area of Devil's Lake State Park. Now, this entire area is filled with various ghost stories and legends. Why that is, I don't know. I could not find an origin story as to why so much is linked to this area, but it is. Now, a couple of things to remember about this area. It was a Native American Indian stronghold at one point. That could have something to do with it. It was the origin of the Ringling Brothers Circus, and you'll see some of the stories are linked to that. A couple of stories are linked there, or at least one of them is linked to that. And there's been a lot of crashes and accidents along a road that goes through this region, which is called Highway 12. So there's a lot of things going on here that could lend itself to ghostly activity. So let's go through them pretty quickly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each of them because there's a lot of them. Now, the first one is the Phantom Hitchhiker. Now, the Phantom Hitchhiker is said to haunt Route 12 itself. Now, he is not an old ghost. He is a ghost from the 60s. Excuse me. And if you saw him, you would see him much like you would see someone from the 60s. Type of clothes he wears. Kind of looks like a homeless Vietnam vet from the time. Someone that had come back from the war and was just wandering and drifting. That's what this guy looks like, or that's what this spirit looks like. Now, the story goes that you'll see him walking along. You'll be driving along Route 12, and you'll see him walking along. And you'll go past him, and you won't stop and get him. But about a mile later, you will see him once again walking in the same direction in front of you, though, as if it was a new person, but it's exactly the same image, exactly the same spirit. You'll see him a mile apart, proceeding in the direction you're going in. Now, if you were to stop and try to pick him up, he would vanish before your eyes because no one has been successful in picking him up. Over the years, people have claimed to have tried, and each time he vaporizes. So, just a residual spirit, in my opinion. It's reliving its whatever part of its existence on that road, hitchhiking. All right, that's the first one of Baraboo. The second one is the Baraboo Inn, which was a brothel in the 1800s. You know, brothels tend to have ghosts as well. Old brothels tend to have ghosts as well. And you'll see that this place is specifically said to be haunted by 30. I'm going crazy. 90, 30 ghosts, which is a hell of a lot of ghosts, if you ask me. But I'll show you a picture of that. I definitely have a picture of that I want to show you. Let's see here. Oh, by the way, this is let me show you what the area looks like. Now, it's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful, mostly rural area, Baraboo, Wisconsin. And this is just a picture, a tourist picture of a hiker up on here, looking over one of the beautiful lakes. It is just a gorgeous, beautiful area. Hello, surviving. Good to see you, Deborah Roberts. Good to see you. All right, that's that. That's the region, Baraboo, Wisconsin. Now, the Baraboo Inn, which was originally a brothel in the 1800s, is home to 30 some odd ghosts. And this is what I believe it looks like. Hold on. Here it is. This is a picture of the Baraboo Inn. Now, you see a bunch of elephants in front of it, right? Well, those elephants were part of the Ringling Brothers circus. And those elephants are part of one of the stories as well. It is said that on certain nights, there will be ghostly pachyderms, elephants, that wander the streets of Baraboo and will push up against trees and will make a lot of noise, banging and crashing things, breaking up things, and to the point that at one point in the 50s there was such a scare about it that people would not allow their children out at night because they were afraid that they might encounter this stampede of ghostly elephants that seems to be haunting the streets of Baraboo. And that was in the 50s, but I haven't heard any more modern stories of it. But the story lingers that these every now and then ghostly elephants will wander the streets of Baraboo as part of the Ringling Brothers. They were part of the Ringling Brothers circus. Now, the Baraboo Inn was also home. One of the ghosts that are there is said to be Al Capone. Now, Al Capone's ghost gets around, and there's a lot of sightings of him in different locations in Alcatraz. There's in Chicago, obviously, but this was one of them because it was said that he would come and stay here at times. So this was his ghost is said to wander here as well. Now, the other ghost you'll see in this region in Baraboo is the ghost of this guy right here, who is where is he? The ghost of Al Ringling. Now, Al Ringling was obviously the founder of Ringling Brothers, the older brother of the Ringling Brothers, who made the deal with Barnum. And we all were famous with the Barnum and Bailey, Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey conglomeration there or partnership. But his ghost is said to haunt this area as well, haunting his mansion, as his old mansion, as well as the Baraboo Inn also, and as well as other places in Baraboo, because this was his hometown and his soul is linked to this area that this made him, and that's where he's going to stay. So old Al Ringling's ghost is said to make a lot of noise, move things here and there, especially in his mansion. That's where he seems to have the most energy and where he manifests the most. So if you take a tour of that mansion, you might encounter him. So Ringling Brothers. And then, okay, so then another story from Baraboo is that the lake, Devil's Lake State Park, based on that's what it's named after, there will be ghostly canoes of Native American Indians. Now, I couldn't find the name of the tribe that it is specifically attributed to, but you will see them on the lake on foggy nights, canoeing, canoeing and going about their business. So you have a lake that is very popular with sports fishermen and vacationers, but at night it gets a little creepy when you have ghostly spirits of Native Americans hanging around. And then the final story about this was that there was said to be a deranged. We're going back to Ringling Brothers. There was a deranged Ringling employee who murdered children and took their bodies and dumped them in the surrounding woods around Baraboo. And it is said that their spirits linger there, and you'll hear crying and wailing in the woods at night. And it is said that these are the spirits of this awful of these children that were the victims of this awful person that would take travel with the circus and use it as a praying ground to murder. So that's a very creepy and disturbing type of theory. Now, I couldn't find anything of there being any actual evidence of anyone ever being caught or anything like that, but that is the rumor or the theory out there, and it's what is explained for the sounds in the woods around Baraboo, the wailing of children that's said to be heard around there. So that's number 4. That's your number 4 story, the Baraboo region of Wisconsin, which is loaded with all types of spiritual and ghostly activity. Now, the final story is a short one, but it's worth going over. And this one has to do with a place called a place called Boy Scout Lane at Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Now, I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is what Boy Scout Lane looks like. If I can get this to work, here we go. This is Boy Scout Lane. As you can see, it's very desolate and very creepy. Totally wooded area, and it is a passage to get to camps, Boy Scout camps. And that's why, obviously, it's named Boy Scout Lane. Boy Scout troops would routinely take this lane to go to their camps in the summer. And now, over the years, things have happened on this road a couple of times that have led to ghostly activities. Now, the story is that there was a bus, and you will see, and I'll show you right now. There is an abandoned bus in the woods around this lake, and I'll show you a picture of it. Here we go. Where is it? This is the abandoned bus that's there. Now, I think this school bus thing is written. I think this is school bus appears written on here, but this is the bus that's abandoned there. And you can see it's an old style bus. And the story goes that this bus was loaded with Boy Scouts and a troop leader. And unfortunately, it ended up in a drastic and devastating accident where everyone ended up perishing on board. And it is said that you can see a ghostly version of this bus filled with ghostly Boy Scouts that comes by on Boy Scout Lane. And if you encounter this, you're warned to step aside because it's going through. Obviously, if it's a spirit, it's going to go through without you. But it is said that it was a deadly accident. The bus caught fire and everyone perished in it. Now, I couldn't find any specific time period at which this occurred, but as you can see from the bus, it's obviously from the 50s or earlier. It's an old style bus. Now, people will say also, if you're walking along this road, you will get a feeling of foreboding or a very negative, creepy feeling, or feeling that you're being watched from various angles with no apparent culprit or no apparent reason for this feeling. That branches on trees will break by themselves. And if you drive through here, and it happens quite often because, like I said, the road still leads to active Boy Scout camps, that you might encounter when you drive through there, you might encounter handprints on your windows of young boys, handprints on their windows, or scratches on the windows as if they are reaching out, spirits are reaching out to try to either for help or, to get out of there. I don't know exactly, but handprints of children on your car. And there's also a companion story about how the troop completely vanished. So there's the accident story, and then there's the old abandoned bus, and then there's also the theory that they all vanished. They went into the woods on a trip, and they all just vanished without a trace. So, regardless of how they got to that point, they seem to be in spirit form. And you'll see flashes at night, and those flashes are believed to be of the Boy Scouts' flashlights when they were lost in the woods at night looking to find their way home. And they said that you'll see these lights from here and there. For no apparent reason, you'll see lights in the woods. So creepy stuff on Boy Scout Lane in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So there are your 5, count them, 5 stories for the day. Molly's Rock, the Ice Fisherman of Manitowish, the Ghost Murder of John Sullivan in Omro, Wisconsin, the ghostly activity all over Baraboo, Wisconsin, all types of activity there. And then the ghostly Boy Scouts of Boy Scout Lane, Stevens Point. There you are, your 5 stories. So I hope you enjoyed them. And let's see if I didn't say hello to anybody. Todd Father still, I said hello to Todd Father. Krumel, I said hello to. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out and listening to them. I appreciate that. Baywatcher, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Anybody else that I miss here? I know I said hello to Surviving before. Jimena, I can see you. I think you were here before. I didn't say hello to you. I'm sorry about that. All right. Well, it's great. Emmanuel Spatato, the showstopper, is here. Excellent. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Now, let's do a little bit of videoing. Let's see what we can do here. And you tell me what you think. Now, where am I? All right, let's do this one. Hold on. Let's do this one first here. Okay. Hold on. All right, let's go on here. Hold on. All right, hold on a second here. It's always a little bit more difficult for me to pull up videos for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. Let's try this. All right. Got to go to a window. That's the difference there. Okay. Now, this is just a still picture. This isn't a video. And this is called The Nun in the Car Park. Now, the background to this is these people supposedly were having a picture taken. They were at a church parking lot and were waiting for fireworks. So they're taking pictures, the 4th of July, blah, blah, blah. As you can see in the back over this woman's head, you will see a ghostly figure here, and this is called the nun. And it's pretty convincing, I think. It's an aberration in the shape of what it looks like, a woman in a white dress with a habit on or some type of veil. So I think it's a pretty good picture for it's a still picture, but I couldn't find a video of this because it was just the still picture, and I thought it was pretty interesting. That they say that they took this picture. Obviously, they did not notice it at the time. No one noticed it at the time because there are people everywhere, right? There's the people that are taking the picture, but there's also people in the background. They're all sitting here waiting for the fireworks, and this appears on their camera. So I thought it was kind of interesting, this one. So I don't know what you think about this one, if it's a hoax or what, but I think this one's pretty cool. Yeah, Tony, I remember you telling that story. Yes, one time Tony the Night Owl came on the show and told that story about her encounters there. But what do you think about this one? I think this one's pretty good. I think this is a pretty good. This is not easy to hoax this one because it's a regular camera, and now I don't know if it's been analyzed at all, but this is what it looks like, and it's better than your usual one. So I don't really know about this one, but I think it's kind of cool. All right. So that's our first one. Let's get rid of that one. We don't want that. Let's go. There we go. All right, let's get rid of that. Now let's go on to our next one, if I may. All right. I want to get a video in here. I do have another still, but I want to get a video in here real quick. If I can. I don't know where the video is. All right. It's not working. Again, it's not working. Here we go. All right. Now, this is a closed circuit television camera in a abandoned, supposedly abandoned, but let's watch it and see what happens here. Now, I want you to watch see these windows here. Watch this doorway over here. Now, the title of this is Shadow Figure or Shadow Creature, Shadow Man, Shadow something or other. But I'm going to debunk. I'm going to say this one is simply a camera glitch. And the reason I say that is because I don't think this is a hoax. I think it's a camera glitch because, as you could see, you could see the actual outline of a person. This doesn't look spiritual to me. This looks like the body of someone who just happened to be walking in and out of here into this room. And the camera, for some reason, glitched to the point that it only shows, a dark image of them. It didn't really pick them up and only shows the, darkness there. You can see shoes. I can see shoes there. It doesn't look spiritual to me or extraordinary paranormal. It looks like just a person walking through. And because of the camera glitch, it shows up as like a dark figure, mysterious figure. So I'm going to say this is just a camera glitch. I don't think it's a hoax that someone just caught on their closed circuit television camera. All right. So let's get rid of that. And let's go on to the next. Let's see what the next one is here. I have a screenshot somewhere in here I wanted to show you. Oh, here it is, the screenshot. Okay, let me see if I can pull this one up. Hold on, let me get this over here. There's so much happening over here. So many pictures, so many videos. What is going on? All right. There we go. Now, this picture was taken on a trail camera. And this creeps me out, this picture, because this is taken on a trail camera. And the backstory behind it is that this is on an area where it's fenced off and barbed wired off from the public. It is a restricted area, and they have these trail cameras there just to make sure for security purposes, and that there's no way, they say, that a human being could get past into this place. And if you look at this image, it's obviously a woman, and but the dress looks very old school to me, very like Little House on the Prairie type of colonial, or even colonial or Western, pioneer type of dress. So this one I don't know about. I don't know. This looks like it's a real spirit to me. Could be. I mean, I don't see it as a camera glitch unless there were real people going by. And they're saying that it's not. So they're saying that this area was roped off, fenced off with barbed wire. Nobody could get in there. And this showed up on a trail camera. Something triggered it, and this is what it showed. Now, if an animal triggered this, and this is what showed up, that would be a heck of a, or a hell of a glitch. I mean, I don't know how that would be, because it shows the image pretty clearly. You can see the head, the black hair, the white dress, and everything. So, yeah, Big Bones, Amish dress, right, Amish. So, I don't know. With all these things, I can't really ever say this is, I definitely believe it. All I'm looking for is something that I can't explain away. That's all. And this is one of them. I think if I'm going to go by what they say, I'm going to go by the background story. This is something I can't explain. So, all right, let's get rid of that if we can. Hold on. There we go. Now let's go. Now this is interesting. Now this is not a ghost, but this was on the Discovery Channel. Now watch this. Watch this. Oh boy, if I can get this. Wait a minute. Where is this? Hold on. This was on the Discovery Channel. And it was on the Discovery Channel as an unexplained. There's two of these. Unexplained. All right. Are there two of them? No, maybe there's not. Anyway, I'll show you this anyway. It's an unexplained werewolf on camera that was caught in someone's backyard. Now I'm going to show it to you first. I want to hear what you think about it, and then I'm going to tell you what I found. All right, here we go. Now, the Discovery Channel, Paranormal Caught on Camera, showed this video as an unexplained video that they couldn't dispute, or they couldn't figure out if this was real or not. So I don't know. What do you think? It's definitely creepy, Delilah. Yes, that's definitely creepy. Definitely creepy. Right. Now, this is from Brazil. That's what they say this comes from. A backyard in Brazil. Right. And there you see the head of it. Right. You can see the head of there. And then there is, after this, there's another shot of it wandering. Here we go, wandering around, right? Close to the ground. Stoney says it looks like the wild dogs in Philly. Yes. Yes, Suzanne. Yes. A rabbit monkey, just me says. All right, now hold on. Let me get rid of that. Hold on here. Let's see if I can. I don't know where this. There was another shot of it, but I can't seem to locate it. Let me see here. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. No, I can't seem to locate the other shot of it. That's kind of annoying. Why is that? Oh, here it is. All right, let me show you this too. Let me show you this. This was the other shot that was on the Discovery Channel, caught on a video, caught on a video of I don't know, caught on paranormal caught on video. I'm sorry, that's what it's called. Okay, where is it? Here we go. Come on, where are we? Where'd we go? What the heck happened to it? It was just here. Oh, come on. Why is this such a problem? Why is this one such a problem? All right. Let me try one more time. Here we go. All right. Now, this is supposedly the same werewolf, I guess. And I think this is creepy. Definitely creepy. Definitely creepy looking. Absolutely. And this is a close up of the face. Now, okay. Now, this is on the Discovery Channel, right? And it's from Brazil. And there are experts on there claiming that they don't know what this is, blah, blah, blah. It could be a real werewolf, blah, 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 all that stuff. Well, thanks to a show called Paranormal Break or Power Breakdown. So check it out. I'll put it in the description so you can check it out. This guy's great. He does videos where he breaks down paranormal videos and he disproves them. So it's worth seeing. It's mostly Bigfoot though. He seems to be focused on the Bigfoot pictures and the videos, like he breaks them down and shows you how they're frauds. But he does do stuff like this. He does some ghosts sometimes, but mostly Bigfoot and then creatures like this, like cryptids. But it's a great channel, so you should watch it. But this is great because I'm going to show you the origin of this. They're acting like they don't know where this came from. Well, he found out where it came from. And I'm going to show you that right now. Now, in Brazil, there is a town called, hold on, Jonapolis, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but that's the English spelling of it, Jonapolis. And it's called the werewolf capital of the world. And they have a werewolf festival there. And you'll see what happens. These are videos. These are videos that happen routinely there because people dress up during these festivals and go door to door and get on ring cameras. So they're dressed up like werewolves and they go door to door dressed up, as part of the fun or part of whatever they're celebrating, having a good time, pretending to be werewolves. And they get caught on ring cameras and such. And that's where these videos came from. These are just people with werewolf costumes out celebrating, having some fun, doing this werewolf thing. And the Discovery Channel fell for it and put it up there as if it was this creepy, unknown, link to the possibility of werewolves. So some debunking there. Haunted news. Welcome. Um, you know, that it was so scary, so such a mystery that no one could solve. Well, Power Breakdown, check out his channel, did it pretty quickly and disproved that. So I thought that was fun to bring that up and show that even though something's on TV and a lot of people believe it, if it's in a productive show, that's where it is. Well, Mark Waldenberger, welcome. We have had, so you live near La Crosse, Wisconsin. We've had some strange creature sightings around here that boggle the mind. Oh, awesome. That's great. I'd love to hear about it. Yeah, I mean, absolutely love to hear about it. I mean, and I don't know when you came in, but I got you probably heard some of the stories that I told earlier on about that came from Wisconsin. So check it out if you came in later, and tell me if you've heard them too. Leave me a comment. Tell me if you heard them. But I'd love to hear your story, whatever it is, whatever you can tell me. But so anyway, that's how it is, guys. That's my stories, the 5 stories, and just a little bit of videos there, couple of fun videos and a couple of still shots. Lizard Man out on island near Frenchman's Slough. Oh, it's interesting. Lizard Man, huh? Just me said looked up Tasmanian Devil and first it looks like one. Okay. American Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet. Yeah, I remember Silver Bullet. I remember both those movies. Yeah. Well, thank you, Hamina. Thank you. I appreciate that. And welcome, Mark. Welcome. Thank you for spending some time here with us. But yeah, so that's my story for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed them. And yeah, so open to suggestions always. If you want me to research something or delve into something, I certainly will and see if I could find anything interesting to talk about. Thank you, Gerard. Appreciate that. And I will, absent that, I'm going through it state by state. Want to hit every state. And eventually, once I do that, I may go back and do some other stories from the stories I did, because I obviously don't tell every story of each state, but I wanted to get the ones that interest me the most per state and get them out there, and then go on to other things. Who knows? I already did a Canada one, did some in Canada. I'm sure there's plenty more in Canada. There's plenty in South America and Mexico, and I did some in Europe. So there's plenty of material always there to talk about. I don't know, Gerard. I got to think about it, which state I want to do next. I'm kind of in the Midwest right now, so I may just progress and go along like that. Maybe do Indiana. I don't know. I'll get or Minnesota. I might want to do one of those next. So, but yeah. So anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me this evening. It's been fun. If you're bored, tune into Slim later. Slim and Eat Cricket will be on later as usual. He's a Friday night 10 o'clock slot. He'll be on. Check him out. But other than that, thank you so much for joining me. Check out Para Breakdown if you get a chance. It's an interesting channel. And like I said, I'll put it in the description later on. But I do appreciate all of you. Thanks so much. And I will blow out our candles. And I will say thank you for joining. And as always, on behalf of Lenny and Victor back there, Victor's really quiet back there, we want to say thank you and stay scared. See you next week on The Guild. God bless.